Ravenguard are the shock ambushers of the Adeptus Astartes. Their armor comes in black and white with gold or red trim, and they're also the most deserving of still having a beak on their helmets from the Horus Heresy. But their drip is stolen by none other than the Dark Angels for their Raven Wings. How does that even happen? How do you even steal that? Their Primarch is called the Lion, and they took Raven and whatever. I'll shut up about it for now. During the Unification Wars, the Ravenguard were used by the Emperor of Mankind as an ace up his sleeve. They excelled at recon and also shock troop skills. They're like hawks, only revealing themselves when they need to strike. This made them a great match for their Primarch, Corvus Corax. Corax was ripped away from the Emperor and was thrown into a prison planet as a child, just like Megamind. He landed on the moon of Kavar, which was around the planetoid of Lycaeus. Corax was taught by these prisoners and adapted, being able to observe his enemies and their habits, and learning about his Emperor's given abilities of being a yoked individual. This allowed him to plan ahead and gain his freedom, with him evading attention from prison wardens and eventually killing his captors. And when the moon of Kavar eventually gained independence with the help of Corax and started nuking the below Lycaeus, the Big Emps also showed up alone. Which made it weird because he usually has this whole entourage thing going on with a bunch of custodians. But it's even weirder because the Emperor went and talked about Corax about the universe and then left. The Emperor basically told Corax that if he killed everybody on Lycaeus and then claimed it, I guess he would get a Space Marine Legion? I don't know. Corax then did this, swag punching the bad guys on Lycaeus and renaming it the ever edgy name of Deliverance. The Emperor then came back looking at all the innocents that died and patted Corax on the back and gave him a Space Marine Legion as a consultation gift for all that happened. Corax quickly had his guys do what he did and gain his observation skills, but he also had trauma because the Terran-born Space Marines looked like the slavers he'd killed, and he kicked them out of leadership positions because of it. Low-key racial, but, you know, he's also technically Terran-born. This demotion would also include the Legion's Chapter Master, which is funny because that's not a great move for keeping them loyal, but well, whatever. Corax also made a few innovations for the hardware of the Imperium, like making the Thunderhawk. This would have all been great. This would have all been perfect. Except for Corax's Gene Seed defect. This is where the Ravenguard get increasingly more and more edgy and gatekeep tactics that don't involve their intelligent approach to combat of sitting in the shadows and brooding until something needs to die. This can be easily averted though if they subscribe to freelance at youtube.com. Oh yeah, also, almost forgot, the Horus Heresy started. It started off with a bang with the Drop Site Massacre. In a move never before seen, the Ravenguard were the ones being ambushed. And they did not cope with it well. With this unexpected betrayal, and by that I mean most of them being slaughtered, one of the brothers of Corvus Corax, Vulcan, Primarch of the Salamanders, recommended a calculated retreat. But Corvus Corax, who was understandably depressed that 77,000 of his sons just died, said that all hope was lost. Then Lorgar, traitor Primarch of the Word Bearers, tried to square up against Corax, and he lost because Lorgar's just the worst. Lorgar sucks. Corax almost killed Lorgar in a wrestling match, but he didn't know it was a handicap match until Tonrad Kurz came out of nowhere and started feeding Corax's hands. After getting hit a few too many times, Corax did use his trusty jump pack to get away though, and they escaped from the job site. Yet again, by doing another reconnaissance mission, and with a little luck, a homie from the planet of Deliverance came in to help. And with that, the Ravenguard didn't do much else for the entirety of the heresy because they were all dead, and some rebuilding was very much needed. Following during Horus's defeat, Corax flew into the Ayatari so angry at Lorgar for everything he did, he decided to go into the realm of emotion and chaos, and likely being horribly mutated, with his last words to his chapter saying, "Nevermore." Nevermore. Like he's perched above Lorgar's chamber door? Lorgar doesn't even know anybody named Lenore. The Ravenguard also became a bit more known for dying a lot in combat, because of them being show-offs and causing them to be constantly understaffed. During the Indominus Crusade, they've mostly been fighting the Tau, and their chapter master died, and then the new chapter master sent all the Ravenguard on different covert deployments across the galaxy, for an exact reason we don't know yet. The Legion is Codex Astartes compliant, and has 10 companies of 100 Space Marines each, without a shortage of course, and each company is led by one Shadow Captain. I love the Edge. They also don't like White Scars, for also no exact reason, except that incidents happen a little more often when they work together. Are they just racist? Are they all racist? The recently deceased chapter master of the Ravenguard, Corvin Sevrax, who is mysterious and shadowy, and we know nothing about him besides his expertise in killing Tau and fought on some stuff, that's it. Chapter master we know actually a lot about is the current chapter master, who is Kavron Shrike. This guy actually has a youth. He was a runner for a crime organization back on his planet, and had a natural talent for stealth. Ravenguard chaplain saw him one night, and young Shrike getting cornered and beaten up brutally. They thought Shrike was pretty hardcore and decided to bring him in. So they abducted him, tore open his body, put all the Space Marine stuff in, all the drugs, and he was great. After a large training arc, he started to prove himself. During an orc war, he would ambush commando patrols, leading assaults tactfully, and the orcs found it boring and stupid because they couldn't just outright fight, causing them to leave, wanting a better fight somewhere else. Shrike would also accomplish many other decisive victories for the Imperium, and when Corvin Sevrax died, Shrike was given the title of Chapter Master and Master of Shadows, while the Indominus Crusade came knocking at his door. Gilliman had a few shiny Primaris Marines that Shrike leaped on. He also has imposter syndrome and thinks that he's not worthy of being a chapter master, which is funny, because half of the Ravenguard's characterizations is that they're full of ego. The tabletop playstyle for the Ravenguard have some enhanced deployment options because of their tactical and stealthy playstyle, but they also work well concentrating fire on enemies to showcase their weaknesses, while being versatile like any other Space Marine Legion, and that's the Ravenguard. I thought they were overwhelmingly edgy, but not in a bad way. I was mouth agape looking at some of the parts of their lore, like how Chaplains took Shrike, or Korax's last words before his radio silence were nevermore. What do you think of the Ravenguard? Do you hate me because they were your favorite Space Marine chapter and I kind of made fun of them or missed something? Make sure to tell me in the comments down below. Till next video, fellas.